Welcome to another episode of the Positively Insane podcast with your host and spirit guide, Kevin Alexander.
You know, when I first started this podcast back in 2016, I started it with the sole intention of reaching out to people and hopefully touching people that were in similar situations to what I had gone through, being homeless and struggling with drugs. And the long journey, the long process of turning that around. That's one of the things that kept me going. That's literally the main thing that kept me going. Was knowing that I could take what I learned along the way and use it to reach out and inspire other people to keep moving forward. Because at the end of the day, anybody could have gone and done what I did. Because all I did was not give up. But I'm no stranger to giving up. Because along the way, I've stopped working on this podcast multiple times. I gotta be completely honest with myself about that and about why that is. And because I love this podcast. I love everything this podcast stands for, what I want it to stand for, everything that I had hoped to accomplish with it. Not gonna lie, I had big dreams, and I say had because as of right now, I'm managing my expectations. I still very much enjoy the idea of making the show and doing something meaningful with it, which is why I've never stopped thinking about the podcast. I just kept talking myself out of getting back on the mic because it's an intimidating thing to do. This is not my comfort zone. I might like to talk, but being on the mic has never been something that came easy to me. But I love doing it. So that is why, that's why I'm back again. And as you can tell, if you're a long-term listener, the format has completely changed. Back when I first came up with the whole spirit guide thing, it was kind of a joke. I mean, I was kind of serious, but kind of a joke. And now I kind of want to take that to heart and take it super serious. And with COVID going on, tensions are high. People are scared. And I am definitely one of those people. My anxiety has been high. My stress levels have been high. And I already have high stress levels as it is, I'm a hypochondriac. I worry too much. I'm also lazy, and I don't take care of my responsibilities when I should. I procrastinate. I put things off. And then, those things build up until they become overwhelming. I keep saying, I'll do that on my next day off, maybe. The next day rolls around and it's like, I only have one day off. God, wouldn't it be nice to just put that off till, I got 2 days, back to back, which never happens. And then if it does randomly happen, who wants to spend their first regular full weekend off doing chores? So it's a cycle that just perpetuates itself and it snowballs, and until they manifest themselves physically into an overwhelming task. And that task manifests itself in turn emotionally and mentally, because you'll be at work completely in an entirely different space. You're miles away from the problems that you have, but they're still on your mind. They still weigh heavy on your mind, and your mind is still where your problems are. And it stays that way. It never gets better. It never gets better. The problems get worse. They build up. They accumulate. And your mind focuses on them more and more and more, because as your problems take more and more space, physical space in your life, they take more and more, emotional and mental space in your mind. And then it's all you can do to distract yourself from these things, because they've got you so stressed out that the only way to keep yourself from having a panic attack is to find something that distracts you from these things, even momentarily. Some people turn to drugs. I know I did for a while. But you can really turn to anything. I have my imagination, and it is a wonderful thing, and at times it is a horrible thing. But I couldn't imagine life without it. If it wasn't for my imagination, I don't know if I would have even had the audacity to dream about overcoming the obstacles in my life, the obstacles that I put in front of myself, because I put a lot of them in front of myself. I knew succeeding would take a lot of effort. Not only would it take a lot of effort, but it would take consistent effort. Not only would it take a lot of consistent effort, but it would take a lifetime of consistent effort. And a lifetime of effort is a daunting thing. That is a tall mountain, a never-ending mountain. There is no sight, or there's no end in sight. It's just mountain and clouds. And no matter how far you climb on that mountain, no matter how high you get, when you look up, it's just more mountain and more clouds. And that's That's the point. That is the whole beautiful answer, you know? It's not about ever getting to the top. It's just about climbing. It's about climbing every day. Get up. Wake up. Get up early. Get to bed early. Get up at a decent time. Because if you don't, your moods are all fucked. And apologize if swearing throws off the whole vibe here. But it's gonna happen, so bear with me. But you gotta sleep, and I am the worst person to be talking about this because my sleeping patterns are so messed up. But that's why I know what I'm saying is true. I've lived it. I live it. You gotta have a healthy sleeping routine. I've had them before in the past, and my sleeping routine, my schedule isn't so awful. It's fairly well in check. It's been way worse in the past. But you need to sleep at night and get up in the morning if you can. If you work graveyards, you know, you have to adjust, but you still need your sleep. And you still need some sort of sunlight. And you need to make sure you're staying up on your vitamins because it's not healthy, the graveyard shift. I used to work it myself, and if you're not taking extra precautions, you're not doing yourself any favors. So, if we sleep healthy, if we sleep right, we get up, we get ourselves ready to tackle the day. And I know this is silly, but yeah, I'm gonna go through the day with you. I'm gonna go through the day the way I go through my day, to the best of my ability. I don't always succeed, but every day I climb. Go to bed on time, get up on time, and find something to do. You know, don't sleep until it's time to go to work. Find something to do. Look around the space that you live in. You know, if there's not something immediate that's obvious to do, which I'd be surprised because most of us have something in our lives that we're putting off. At least I do, and I know a lot of other people that do. So look around your space. If there's something to do, something to pick up, pick it up. If there's something to clean, clean it. Get your space in order. Because you can't get your mind in order, you can't get your head in order if your space isn't in order. When you come home after work, that's supposed to be the place where you relax. That's where you let go of the day, and that's where you unwind. Excuse me. You need to be able to come home to order, and if you come home to chaos, then all that crap that built up at work, all of it. It gets compounded. I can't say the word. It gets compounded because now all the crap in your personal life gets piled onto it, and there's never an outlet for it. Most of us walk around with that just inside of us, and that's not healthy. Most of us know that's not healthy, and most of us don't do anything about it because most of us don't know how to do anything about it. I've spent most of my life thinking about these very things. And the things that I've learned and that ring the most true are the things that, I want to talk about throughout the course of this episode. So when you have your space in harmony, and it's really what it is. You have to have it in harmony, because if you're the kind of person, if you're putting these things off, and you're putting them off, they're going to come back. When you try to find some sort of mental clarity, these are the things that are going to invade your zen, and that's why you have to tackle them and get them in order. So get your personal space in order. And then you need to go to work with a positive attitude. And I don't care how bad work sucks. Most of us hate our jobs. I'm lucky enough to do a job I don't hate, but I don't love it every day. We have to go to work every single day like we're champions. You have to hold your head high, and you have to kick ass, because the only way to keep a positive outlook is by living every day like a champion. You already have to climb. Why not climb like a champion? Whatever it is you do it like a champion. If you don't have confidence in yourself, I understand that. I get that. I spent most of my life with no confidence. I had no self-esteem and zero confidence. I didn't start finding my confidence until I was 30. I completely get it. But I guarantee that if you give yourself a chance and you believe in yourself, genuinely believe in yourself, you need to be able to look in the mirror, stare your face, you look yourself in the eye. Tell yourself you can do it and believe it, and I guarantee you will pull it off. It might take longer than you hope or expect, and you may need to change the game plan before you get to the end. But that's life. You have to be adaptable. It's when opportunity meets preparation. Live every day like a champion. And I knew this was going to happen. I knew I was going to come up to the end of the track where it repeats itself, and it was going to fade out, and things were going to get a little awkward. I couldn't find super long songs. This is all royalty-free stuff. So I just took a 20-minute thing and put one after another, like 4 times in a row. So, now that it is repeated, we can start over again and depending on how long this goes, we're going to have to do that a few times. I will make adjustments for future episodes, because I know that a little bit of a mood killer. Maybe on the next one, if I catch it in time, I'll switch tracks a little smoother. But yeah, man. So go to work like a champion every day. And I mean, so I wake up, I start my morning routine. I get my music on, and some days I get something, I find something that's going to pump me up. Some days, I'll find something that's going to calm me down. Just depends on the mood. It depends on my mental state. It depends on what I need. I've always got some music for honestly, I have a soundtrack for every mood, every mental state, whatever it is. If I'm sad, I've got music for it. If I'm happy, I've got music for it. If I need to get myself fired up, I've got music for it. If I need to find my zen, I've got music for it. So I find whatever it is I need for that morning, and I go with it. And I listen to that throughout my entire morning routine. Then I get dressed, which is part of the morning routine. And then I walk to work. And I walk a little over a mile. And it takes me roughly 15 minutes at a decent pace. And I spend that entire time, either getting amped up or zenned out. But I'm getting in the zone. Whatever zone I need for that day. Sometimes the zone is just getting my ass to work and making it through the day. Sometimes the zone is getting to work and being a fucking rock star and making sales and, getting extra upsells, going the extra mile and getting it and, really bringing it home. But I have a hard time making that sort of thing consistent. So that's one of the things that I'm focusing on, is trying to be a champ. I live every day like a champion. Some days are just harder than others, but every day I am a champion, and so are you. So are you. I mean, just take a moment to really reflect upon your life. Who you are, where you come from, what you've gone through. The accumulation of events that have led up to this moment and make you who you are. Only a champion could be in your shoes right now. And the truest champions don't know they're champions. That's the beauty of it. They underestimate themselves throughout everything they do. And then if they're really lucky, they stumble on, a little nugget of wisdom, or they glean some insight, and suddenly they realize that they are champions. And they stop holding themselves back. And I feel like I'm in that process. It's been an ongoing process for a few years yet. But I keep moving forward, and I believe in myself more and more with every single attempt. So, I spend every day with that mindset, the mindset of a champion. And you have to train like a champion. And for me, my training is mental. So when I come home, I let that shit go. And some days are easier than others. But every day, I do my best to let it go. Because if you can't let it go, then you can't give your mind time to relax and heal, because you just worked out like a motherfucker all day at work, stressing and thinking and problem solving, dealing with rude customers. And your mind is a muscle that needs to be exercised, but like any muscle, after exercise, you need to rest. And I started taking this very seriously when I was in the homeless shelter, because I was lost and I was scared. And I honestly didn't know how I was going to make it out of the situation I was in. In a lot of ways, with this COVID-19 scare, this global pandemic, in a lot of ways, I feel similar to that now, and I think a lot of other people do too. And so meditation became incredibly important to me. And I decided to tackle that like a champion as well. I knew that I was frayed at the edges, and my mental health was getting out of hand. And that if I had any chance of surviving the mess that I had gotten myself in, I had to keep myself sharp, and I had to keep myself relaxed, because I was so stressed and so angry and so scared. And so I found guided meditation on YouTube. Most of it, didn't do much for me. But every now and then I found one. The music was right. The atmosphere was right. The person's voice was right. And I let them take me on a journey, much like the one that I am taking you on now. And it was just learning those relaxation techniques, just controlling my breathing. That alone, in through the nose, out through the mouth, long and slow. Breathe in the positive, exhale the negative. Literally thinking about that. Exhale the bullshit. Get it out of your system. Breathe in the new. Breathe out the old. Bring in the hopeful, positive energy for the future. Let out that negative, toxic energy, those doubts, those thoughts, those fears. Let them go. Just controlling your breathing can do wonders for, relaxing yourself, calming yourself in a stressful situation. But that's usually not enough, at least not for me. And if you really struggle with stress and anxiety, that's just going to be the beginning for you. So what I do, what I am really in need of some Zen, if it's possible, if I'm at home, I'll turn the lights off, or I'll dim the lights, get it as dim or dark as possible. I'll put my headphones on. I'll get myself as relaxed as possible. I like to lay down, but I've gotten good at staying awake, because sleep is not the same as meditation. It does not provide the same relief. Does not provide your mind, your consciousness, the ability to relax and heal itself. When you go to sleep, your mind does not go to sleep. It does crazy, wonderful, magical things with your subconscious. And if you're lucky enough, they'll come to you in the form of a pleasant dream. If you're not lucky, they'll come to you in the form of a very unpleasant dream. I still enjoy most of those, either or. And then sometimes there are things to be learned from those dreams as well, but that is neither here nor there. So just learning the basic relaxation techniques, while I was listening to these guided meditations, helped me a lot. Controlling your breathing, relaxing your body, being conscious of every muscle, every area, starting at the head, working your way down the body, and consciously relaxing each area. Because you'd be amazed at how much tension we hold in our bodies at any given moment, even when we think we are relaxed. Right now, you could be laying down, maybe you're sitting down. You might think you are relaxed, but I promise you, if you really become aware of your body, you could achieve a higher level of relaxation. We all could, because we all are constantly tense. And then once you're aware of that tension, then you can let it go. And so while you're practicing your breathing exercises, you let that tension go with every exhale, more and more. When you breathe, you bring yourself deeper and deeper into that calm, and thoughts may still come to you. Let them happen. We're not meant to eliminate those thoughts or prevent them. We're just here observing. Let them happen. Pay them no attention, and let them go on their merry way. Right now, we are just relaxing. And then, for me, I learned, once I realized meditation wasn't about having an empty mind. It's not about having no thoughts. It's about being at peace with your thoughts. It's about knowing your thoughts are there, but they make no difference to you. They're just traffic on the road, and you're observing, from a pleasant view along the side there. I learned that analogy from a meditation app, and I'll never forget it. So once I realized that I could still achieve the benefits of meditation while having thoughts, I started incorporating visualization techniques. And I feel like I said that funny, but I wanted to make sure I said it. Because when you visualize something, you can almost train yourself to make it happen. And in some cases, you can genuinely make yourself better at things. When you visualize yourself doing something you're nervous about, but you over and over and over again, you picture it, and you picture it just right, and you picture yourself doing it just right. And then if you're good at visualization, you can convince yourself that you are going to go out there and you're going to do it just right. I was reading around this time when I was in the shelter about a prisoner of war. I believe it was during World War II. And this guy was a prisoner of war for around 8 years, I want to say, 8 or 9 years. And he spent most of that time alone in a small cell. And his favorite thing to do was golf. And so every single day, all day long, in his mind, he played golf. He did this for 8 years. Every day, he visualized himself, teeing off, working his way up the green, perfecting his putt. 18 holes, one after another, every waking moment for 8 years. And then when he got out and finally got home, the first thing he did when he was well enough to do so was go play golf. And he played the best game of golf he had ever played in his life. Hands down. There's true power to that. There is true power to being able to visualize yourself doing something and then following through with it. And so I started incorporating, the whole visualization techniques with my meditation. And we're coming up on that track end here, so I'm going to start another one. All right. That's a little bit better. That's way better than letting it fade out and come back in. So, as I'm meditating, I decided to start doing things that brought peace to me. So I couldn't get rid of my thoughts. I couldn't make them disappear, but I could control the thoughts that I had and make them peaceful and constructive. So while I meditate, I started to learn how to manipulate my surroundings, inside my mind. I have a very, very vivid imagination. I've always had one since I was a child, and I never lost it. And I have fed it very well over the years. And so in my mind, I pictured myself building, I built a karate dojo, and, board by board, I put the entire thing together. I designed it in my mind. I decorated it. And then I practiced martial arts in my mind. I visualized myself practicing moves that I had seen. I had watched videos earlier on, and I visualized myself doing these motions. And I'd spend hours doing that. Sometimes I would visualize myself playing guitar. I didn't have a guitar for 7-8 years. So I spent a lot of time in my mind playing guitar. And it's amazing how much of that came out when I started playing guitar again. It took me time to build my stamina and dexterity back up, but the knowledge was there. The ability was there. That was an awesome moment. That light bulb moment for me, my personal, I did that. That was my golf. And during this time, I kind of learned to turn my imagination into, almost a Matrix-like experience where I could create different spaces. I could visit a garden in Japan, and then maybe the Eiffel Tower, or I could walk on a beach. I could picture myself interacting with people. I could visualize every detail and repeat it over and over and over again so many times that I actually had memories of these events. So then let me ask you this. Once something has already happened and all you have left is a memory, did it really happen? Is the memory you have from hours of meditative visualization, is that any less real? It's just a memory. It's a memory just like your other memories. How is it any less real? And if you travel down that thought process, that thought path, you can create any memory you want. Now, you should do so with responsibility, because it's not responsible to create any memory. You shouldn't create delusional memories that feed unhealthy delusions. They should only be a tool used to heal and overcome insecurities and other problems like that. I mean, I'm no expert, but I'm just telling you what I do. You need to be very conscious and responsible when it comes to your mind. And you need to be aware that you can make things worse if you just go in there and mess around. I certainly made a lot of mistakes over the years, and I certainly did a lot of damage to my mind as far as my mental health. And, I created an environment in my mind that developed anxieties and fears and insecurities, and they festered. And then I had to learn how to go in to the source of the infection and heal it from the inside by letting it go or getting it done or overcoming the problem. And so I would spend, and still do, hours inside my mind. Sometimes I would meditate within a meditation. Yeah. I would go to my Zen garden in my mind, and then in my Zen garden, I would meditate. Sometimes I would try to see how many times I could meditate within a meditation until I lost track and they all became one. But I would find things that I wanted to work on. I mentioned before, I didn't have any confidence or any self-esteem. That's something that I learned to improve through meditation and I can't say the damn word. Visualization techniques. You get it. This is all raw. I don't edit this stuff. It's going to be embarrassing to go back and listen to, but you get it. I spent, countless hours just zenning out and working on things that were holding me back. And I learned to be more confident. And I can't even begin to explain how much of an impact it has had on my life. My ability to communicate with other people. It's my ability to not be constantly, a person never really realizes how little they think of themselves until one day they learn how awesome they really are. And that's kind of what happened to me throughout this process of self-discovery. And I'm not trying to say I'm fucking amazing or anything, but yeah, I am. I mean, I'm a human being with flaws, but I'm pretty damn amazing, man. So are you. Again, so are you. And you need to realize that. man, I worked on all kinds of things. I'm just thinking about how crazy it is, and like the first time that I just felt myself let go of the bullshit that was weighing me down, I cried. I cried because I knew that if I could let it go, then that this was something that I could learn to do on a regular basis. And even if I felt the weight start to build again, I knew that if I put my mind to it, I could let it go, and I could put myself at ease, and I could find my center, and I could find my balance. Some days I don't have to. Some days I have to find a moment of clarity almost every hour. But I don't know what I would do if it wasn't for my ability to get that clarity at almost a moment's notice. If it's a really, really bad day, it could take some hard, some serious effort to get myself to find, that peaceful headspace. But I can almost pull it off, 9 times out of 10. I mean, I attribute my ability to do that. That's a huge part of any success that I have had in the years since I've been homeless. That has played a huge, huge part in the success that I've had at work, that I've had at keeping my apartment. It's been one of the most important skills that I've ever learned in my entire life. And I tried for years to meditate. I was always so intrigued by people who claimed that they found, some sort of benefit from meditation. Because I could never pull it off. I always thought meditation meant having nothing in your mind. And so I tried and failed many times over the years, until I came to a point where failure wasn't an option, and I was ready to truly open my mind and my heart and my spirit and I knew that I could finally do it, because I had begun to develop a very close connection with the stars and the night sky and space and the universe in general. I had started having spiritual moments in difficult times, and I've never been a religious person. I don't believe in God per se, but I do believe in a higher power. And for me, that higher power is the universe. For me, the higher power is myself and my connection with the universe. And so I took what I had felt during those spiritual moments and I brought it into my meditation. I brought that spiritual element into my meditation, and it added an entirely new dimension to the experience. And what I learned during the experiences, and my ability to heal from the experiences. And so it is so important for you to find some form of that, some version of that. It doesn't have to be meditation, but you have to find your Zen. You have to find that, Zen garden feeling, that California beach feeling, that warm sun on your face, cool breeze, hearing the ocean, hearing the birds. Maybe you're in the forest, hear crickets. Maybe it's the feeling you get when you're with the people you love, or the feeling you get when you accomplish something, or when you do a good job, or when you create something. You have to find your peace and your Zen, because without that, you can't have balance. And without balance, all you have is chaos. And most of our lives are already pretty damn chaotic. Which is why I want to start making podcasts like this. I want to get cozy with you. I want to turn the lights low. I want to put on some music, and I just want to take you on a journey of thought. And I want those thoughts to be anything but fear. I want you to learn from these experiences. I hope they bring peace. I hope these are calming experiences. I hope you do a lot of self-reflecting. And we need to take heed of our mental health. We need to be conscious and aware of our daily stress and the things going on in our lives. And, we need to actively protect our minds. And I'm going to go ahead and end the music there for the time being. Coming up on about an hour here, and I feel like this is a good time to end the episode. Hope you enjoyed this new format. I know I had a good time making the episode. I feel good about it. It was fun for me. It was, I liked it. So hopefully I hear some positive feedback. I'm not even going to promote anything right now. Just if you like the stuff, give me a subscribe and all that fun jazz. All right, man. Till next time, stay healthy out there, guys.